Today's episode is sponsored by Sandals Resorts. What's up, Chillas? I'm really excited for today's conversation. We have a groom who's in the middle of planning their wedding right now, Jesse Nager, who is from New York originally, but you're on tour right now. We got Broadway royalty with us right now. And also we have with us, once again, Brittny Knight, who's the editor-in-chief of Love Inc. So happy to have you back, Britt.
Hi, I always love being on here.
And so Jesse came to me with some really great questions. And I know not only will we be able to help you today, Jesse, but there's so many people listening that I'm sure could use this advice as well. And Brittny is always great at doling out advice, hot takes, and just inspiration. So welcome to the show, y'all.
Thank you so much for having me.
Excited to be here.
So let's start with you, Brittny. Actually, for those that are not familiar, maybe haven't heard your episodes in the past, give us a brief background on you and your company.
So I am the founder and editor-in-chief of Love Inc. magazine, which is an LGBTQ plus inclusive wedding publication. We've been around I've been doing this for like 14 years now. And we have an annual print issue that we push out. And then, of course, like the blog and social media. But yeah, it's wedding planning with an inclusive lens.
And if you want to go back to Brittany's last episode with us, we were celebrating the issue with Lance Bass on the cover. It was a landmark issue for you, and so exciting. I have it somewhere around here in my collection. I made sure I grabbed it from the store. Yes, look at it, amazing. Still so excited for you over that.
Yeah,
like, huge.
I know this was a big one for me. So
yeah. And then Jesse, tell us about you and Justin, your fiance. Kick us off with your proposal story, because we all love a good proposal story.
Oh, the proposal story is actually crazy. We were we took his parents to Ireland this past summer, and he's from Ireland, or his family is from Ireland, and so I wanted to do it there. It was like really special. When I tell you, 8 times I tried to propose, but because of weather or family disappearing or whatever, I had the ring with me all week. It was like the most insane thing.
That's so much anxiety.
Oh my God. Every day there was we had a tour group, and I was working with the tour leader, and she was like, okay, tomorrow we're going to go here and we're going to be on top of a mountain. It's going to be perfect. And then rain. And then it was like, next day we're going to be at a castle. And so we'll gather the family. And then there was no family. So it was really crazy. And finally, it was the last day that I could have proposed. It actually ended up being beautiful. There was a castle that had like this heart in front of it. And so I gathered the family and I was like, let's just take some pictures because this is really cute. And then as we were taking the pictures, I, thanked his mom and dad for bringing the family together. And then I got down on one knee, and he was like freaking out the whole time. He didn't really know what was happening, but it was really cute. It was really, really cute.
I love that. That's so nice.
And then he proposed to me like a month later. At an apple orchard, because we go apple picking every year, and it's one of my favorite things to do. And so I was being a goofball, and like the video, we have videos of both, but this video was particularly crazy. We'd been drinking some wine, and so there was like, I had a wine glass on, and I was just like dancing around, and I turn around and he was on his knee, and it was really, really cute.
I need to see these videos.
I'll send them.
Please.
Both sound like so amazing and so perfect. Congratulations. Yay.
Thank you.
So excited. Okay, well, Jesse, I know you have a lot of questions. Let's kind of start off, though, with, you mentioned family just now. So I think this is a good way to segue into this one. You're going to be getting married in Provincetown, which is very LGBTQIA plus friendly and open, and a great place to get married. So great. I mean, it's a wonderful choice. What a great spot. But you have family that you are kind of cautious about with navigating, especially since they've never traveled even for a wedding before. So talk to us about your concerns there and how we can help.
Yeah, I think, one of the things for us that was really important was that we were in a place where all week we could hold hands and be loving and, be able to take pictures wherever we wanted without worrying about, any strange looks or anything like that. And so, we thought about doing it in Buffalo, where he's from, or New York City, where I'm from. And it's just, we just wanted some place where we knew there would be no problems, right? My people in New York travel for weddings. The Buffalonians don't often travel for weddings. And so, when we told them where we wanted to do it, there was a little bit of hesitancy. Not even just the Provincetown of it, just the traveling of it. And so getting people on board, but with sort of the notion that it's not just like we love Provincetown because we do love Provincetown, but it's because it's a place where we will feel most comfortable.
I think for that, like you start with that. Like this is where we feel ourselves the most. This is where we feel comfortable. And we want to bring our favorite people to our favorite place to get married. And I think there's so many couples, destination weddings are so huge right now. And so if you frame it as, this is a vacation opportunity where they can explore almost guided, because you guys can give them, list of places we love and list of things to do so that they're never actively like having to put an itinerary together themselves or having to go out on their own by themselves, because that might be intimidating to people who don't travel a lot. So frame it as, this is vacation opportunity with all of us. It's, we're going to be all together and it's just a place that means so much to us. It's got incredible food and art galleries and just it's just such a charming seaside town that it's just you should visit anyways. But we get to get married here and just really frame it as that and make it, take out the intimidation of it of just like traveling to a new place where they aren't familiar. Because it is intimidating. If you don't travel a lot, it is intimidating to go somewhere new.
And what a fun planning idea. They can get together, you and Justin can get together and be like, hey, how can we have this fun, weekend or whatever it's going to be if it's a week? And what are our favorite spots? Like, where do we want to, like, it's another way to get excited.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're trying to figure that out, depending on how much time people can take off.
Mm-hmm.
We are finding that some people are saying, hey, we're going to come Wednesday to Monday and just make like a trip out of it. So that's a good idea to sort of frame it as not just the wedding, but as like a family excursion.
And it's, and you know the town well. You have all these, ideas and tips for traveling there and places to go, places to eat, things to do. So really, and if you put all that together with them and, so they're not having to research, they're not having to do anything. They just show up and they have this amazing vacation plan for them. You're basically their vacation planner. So frame it like that and then they should be like, oh yeah, that sounds great.
One of the ideas too was to have one of Justin's brother, who is a groomsman, sort of be the family travel advisor and just like make sure that the, relatives that are maybe older and are worried about taking a flight and a ferry and all the things you need to do to get there, he will sort of wrangle them and make sure that everything is taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you just said groomsmen. One of your questions that you posed was that you're going to have a non-bridal party, but what do you call them and how do you dress them? So let's address this, Jesse. Let's talk about the party.
It's interesting because we've been Googling. Listen, I've been like mainlining podcasts and Instagram and Pinterest and all that stuff and trying to answer these questions, but none of the terms feel like right for some reason. There's like groomsmen, groomswomen. Groomsmen is fine because we are both grooms and the men that will be in each of our parties can be groomsmen. Groomswomen feels weird. Groomspeople feels awkward. Groomspeople feels like you're intentionally not saying a gender, groomshuman, like all that stuff. It's like
groomshuman.
What's happening?
Yeah.
So trying to find, and for our best people, both of our best people are women, right? So I don't know. It's just, I think because we're just so inundated with the other terms, the traditional terms, that saying something different just feels weird in a way.
Yeah. Well, I love that couples now are really kind of having fun with this. So, I say for the general, wedding party, wedding attendance, those are just very nice, gender neutral, mainstream terminology. But you can have fun with it. You can say like the wedding squad or groom squad, even just inside Alex's size, person of honor, wedding crew. There's so many ways you can go about it. It doesn't have to be this formal groomsman or groomsperson. You can take gender out of it entirely if you want. And yeah, I mean, definitely don't be afraid to have fun with it, because this is definitely something that a lot of couples are doing. They're doing, a lot of fun, intentional, non-gendered terms for what they're calling their wedding parties. So if that, just go with something that feels right for you, not for the sake of, oh, we have to have groom in the title or we have to make it formal sounding.
Do y'all have nicknames?
Not really.
Because that could be a thing too.
Mm-hmm.
No? Do your friends have nicknames for y'all? Like your
for
family and
us?
friends? Yeah. Because you can always use your nicknames too.
His nickname is Sparkle, and that came from his mom because he always had this smile and he was always lighting up a room. And my nickname, I don't really have a nickname. Diva. People call me Diva a lot.
Sparkle and Diva? I feel
think it's there.
The sparkle side and the diva side. Yes. I feel like that's so fun.
You can so lean into that too with your bachelor parties and stuff like that. You can join it too, like a sparkle and divas.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm definitely going to pitch that to him.
Sparkle Squad, Diva Squad.
Yeah, Sparkle Squad.
Sparkle's Entourage, Diva's Entourage.
Love that.
Love it. So something Brittny actually brought up in the past that has stuck with me, I can't unsee it since you've brought it up, Brittny, is when it comes to photography and weddings, it's very bride leaning, right? Even the photos of the bride and groom, it's always the bride looking at the camera and the groom looking away. And obviously the wedding dress, which Jesse brought up in this question as well, those are focused items. Mm-hmm. And understandably in certain ways, like the dress. But when it comes to two grooms, what are some options in photography to kind of lean into both of you as a couple?
So what you're referring to, I call that accessory posing. And it's just basically it's very hetero driven, and it's basically using the groom as an accessory, and it's so bride centric. And that is very formulaic of photographers who usually lean more traditional, they have their shot list and that's it. So it's really important that when you are, have you found a photographer yet?
We have, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really important, just for other listeners, that if you are searching for a photographer, you look at their galleries and you'll see. Once you see it, you'll see it. You can't unsee it. So you look at their galleries and just make sure that they don't do that. And bonus if they have experience in LGBTQ plus weddings, because I think that is, it's so ingrained that people are doing it without even realizing it. Mm-hmm. I found, when I pointed out, they're like, oh my God, you're right. All of my shots that I'm showing on my website are just this, very hetero-driven, normative. And so that's really important to look through any photographer that you're looking to inquire with. Look through their galleries first and see if you start seeing that. And then, have a discussion. Once you find somebody you like, have a discussion with them and say, let's talk about the shot list. What are we doing, instead of, dress portraits, let's do some suit portraits or some, flat lays with the shoes. There's still beautiful detail shots that they can capture and they should capture, but that aren't bride focused. It should not, a good photographer, it's not going to derail them whatsoever. So as long as, just make sure you have that conversation with them. A lot of times also rooted in hetero weddings where, you have the main photographer on the bride and then they have the second shooter doing the groom. Have a discussion. I don't know if you guys decided you're going to get ready separately or together, but decide what you're doing and have that conversation with the photographer and say, hey, you need to split your time up as the main shooter. We want both of us equally represented, not just, second shooters are obviously very, very talented, but you want that cohesiveness throughout. And so you want to just communication is key and just make sure that they understand, what you want out of the shots. And, depending on your style too, you may not want the traditional like flat lays and portrait shots of the suits. So really kind of get a feel for what you want out of your photography, and then have a discussion with them and make sure that they know like these are your expectations.
Yeah, I love that. On top of the normal couple stuff that people deal with weddings, we're also dealing with these sorts of questions. So these are very
Yeah.
helpful. He's much more shy than I am, obviously, anyway. So as we're sort of talking about photography, I'm like, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And he's like,
Mhm.
we're absolutely not doing that. So like we have to sort of do those conversations that I'm sure every couple has, the person that's more comfortable in front of the camera and the person that isn't, on top of the how do we do this as two men and make it feel like us.
Yeah. And make sure you relay like dip the significant other. Like if you don't feel that is very like driven in hetero couples. Dip the bride and like all these very gendered shots. If you want to do that, great. If you don't, communicate that and just say like, hey, this is not our dynamic. Or like a lot of photographers kind of lean like they like to put gender roles on people. They put these even they don't even realize they're doing it. They're like, oh, this is two men, but one is more femme presenting. He's going to be the bride. Like in their mind, they don't even do it on purpose. In their mind, so okay, dip him, give him a twirl. And if that's not your dynamic, then they should be approaching each couple. A good photographer approaches each couple as individual couples, no matter the genders. So just make sure that you communicate like, hey, like if there is any gendered posing, any dips, any twirls, like we're not comfortable with that. Or if I want to twirl, I want to be the one twirling, or I want to be the one dipped, like make sure it's like reflective of your relationship and your dynamics, and not just like them just having to choose somebody based on how you present.
That's great. Yeah, no, Justin's already told me there will be no dips.
Yeah.
So we talked about this off camera, so everyone's aware why Jesse's saying things like this. Jesse is a performer currently on tour and is the artistic director of Broadway Boys. And Justin has, as Jesse put it, a normal job. So one's more theatrical than the other.
I keep talking about the wedding as a show, and he's like, you have to stop.
Well, actually, we just did an episode a couple weeks ago that aired with the girls from Chicago from an event Less Ordinary, discussing how a wedding is like a theater production, their backgrounds in theater. And
exactly.
If that's your thing, lean into it too. Like,
exactly.
There's so much correlation. And again, we talked about this on the show before, but it's so funny how many, when the experts come on, how many are lawyers, past lawyers, and how many have a background in theater.
It's one or the other.
Is it one or the other?
It's one or the other.
Britt, we're friends with all of them.
Logistics or design, and logistics are former lawyers. Design, they're all like theater kids.
But it's true because you have a timeline, just like you have a show run. You have, intermission is really in between like ceremony and reception, and you have all the cast of characters. That's your family. So like,
God, yes.
It's
Love
so on point. The lighting and design and it's their parallel universes, whether Justin wants to believe it or not.
And especially because a lot of our guests are performers, and so I'm like, oh, we have to have this person sing this, and we have to have this person do this, and he's like, okay, but it's also not a concert; it's a wedding. I'm like, it could be both. Why not both?
It can be both.
You can make it, and that's the beauty of weddings. It's like it should be representative of you, your love story, who you are as people, individuals, and who you are as a couple. And like, you can make it anything you want. There are no rules anymore. There's no cookie cutter weddings anymore. It's just all like, you make it you.
Is your photographer based in Provincetown or from elsewhere?
Boston.
In Boston? Okay, but they're familiar with the area to shoot in? Because you can really lean into the environment, too, with your shots.
Absolutely, yeah. And we do have, we hired an incredible wedding planner. His name is Joe at Contagious Events, who specializes.
I know Joe.
He's amazing. He's so good. He's so good. I just don't want to always bring him all of our like questions about feelings. You know what I mean? Like I want to bring him questions about logistics as opposed to like, well, what do we do about? He's like, we need to hire a florist. But he's been great with us too.
That's a good one. Yeah, you got a good team then.
Imagine a wedding day where each detail is already taken care of. allowing you to savor every moment. At Sandals, your dream wedding can finally become a reality. From intimate elopements to grand celebrations, Sandals offers customizable packages for every size and style. Plus, everything is included: your accommodations, gourmet dining, premium drinks, and all your wedding services. You get a dedicated wedding planner and an on-site team to manage everything from ceremony to reception. And here's a really sweet deal. Stay 7 nights or longer in a club or butler level room, and you'll receive their Sweetheart Wedding Package, completely on them. That means your ceremony, decor, and even a delicious 2-tier wedding cake. For those of you who really want to be sure, you can even test drive your wedding experience before you book it. Stop dreaming and start planning. Head over to sandals.com today or call 1-877-SANDALS to create your unforgettable wedding experience. Okay, so you mentioned dips in your question ahead of time. So when it comes to dancing and doing things like dips, we've already been kind of addressing this, but you did have concerns when it came to the dance in specific. Is that because of like your theater background too, and like just and then the heteronorms of it all?
Both. First dances, I think, can be tricky. They either to me feel super over choreographed or like, what am I watching for 3 minutes?
Like an awkward homecoming dance?
Yeah, totally. And so trying to find the balance there, but again, with the two men of it, every couple dance is there's someone leading and there's someone not, and there's and whose hand is where, and like dips, lifts, all that kind of stuff. There's probably a world where we both probably no. Well, I told you there's no dips. There's allowed all day, no dips.
No dips.
Justin, you win that one.
Yeah, he won that one. But as far as like spins and lifts and stuff, there's probably a world where we both do both. But it just, I don't know. I'm having a hard time finding the balance. And again, because like I started out as a dancer, when I was 5 years old and trained for 15 years. Just trying to find that, and that's like normal couple stuff, right? That any couple that is in this situation would have to do. But when you have two men, it just adds another layer of how do we do something that feels really special for us and doesn't feel strange for the audience. Audience, see what happens? I mean guests. I don't mean audience.
It intertwines.
Okay. Potato. I think, you do what feels right for you as a couple. If one person feels more comfortable leading the whole time. But I've had a lot of couples who we featured, they swap in the middle of the song, who leads and who does, So you can always do a switcheroo in the middle of the dance. I would say if you do use a choreographer to create the dance, just make sure you do someone who's equality minded and has, experience working with same-sex couples, because again, they will try to place hetero assumptions on you, and it drives me crazy. But I mean, that's like one of the areas, like one of the nuances about LGBTQ weddings. It's like all these assumptions, and people just like to put people in boxes without, So just make sure you work with a choreographer who understands, the dynamics of the relationship. And I mean, totally, like if you both want to do spins, you should absolutely both do spins.
I like the choreographer idea too. And so many, I'm sure, that might be able to help work with you. Even doing a basic, if you don't want to do like a full-on choreography, like whole routine.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a way to have someone kind of help you figure out your hand placements and who leads when.
Yeah, I think that's really important because I think that it would be strange. Justin would just feel weird if I was like, I'm going to choreograph this dance. He'll be like, no, because then I don't know what it's going to be. But I think having a third party get involved is probably the best idea.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be this over the top thing. You can still work with a choreographer to have a more like quote unquote traditional first dance. Just make it a little like tighten it up and make it a little bit more like professional looking. It'll probably, if Justin's not familiar with choreography and dance instruction, it might make him feel a little bit more confident doing it in front of all your friends and family.
So a question that you brought up was, I'm assuming you did not pick your outfits out yet, what you're going to wear.
Oh my gosh. This has been
Because you said, do I wear white?
this has been the biggest thing I think for us is the styling and what we're wearing. And there was a world where like at one point I was wearing white, he was wearing black, the groom's men were wearing gray, and the women were wearing this like beautiful dusty blue. But then it sort of makes me the bride, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so now I think we're leaning towards us both in white, which also feels a little strange. And even again, like spending hours on Instagram and Pinterest, it's like, how do we find the style? We're both cisgendered men, right? And so how do we find a style that makes us both comfortable, feel our best, look our best at a wedding?
I love this question because I love fashion. So I will say, there's not a ton of mainstream options out there for that kind of in between. All this to say, like, we have some incredible. I definitely urge you to, not to self plug here, but I definitely urge you to like look at Love Inc. Mag's weddings, real weddings. We've featured a lot of couples who both decided to wear white. Some have suits with like a beautiful veil. So they have that veil moment that is beautiful and dramatic and exceptional. Some are just, they have one black suit, one white suit. Like there's so many combinations that you can go with. I think you've got to remove the gender aspect out of it. If you want to wear white, you should. It's not a bride thing. It's, even in hetero couples, and I see a lot of grooms wearing white for their wedding. So just, you should definitely do like what feels right for you. There's a couple of designers out there who are like creating very queer focused, queer inclusive fashion for like weddings and bridal. Timothy Westbrook is one. A company called House of Breton is one. Queera is another designer. We've featured all these on Love Inc. And like we have a whole like section in the magazine in the latest issue on like inclusive designers. But there's definitely like a few designers who focus on that kind of middle ground between like bride and groom. But you can also make it your own. I have a lot of couples who do custom, work with do custom designs and work with a designer one-on-one and creates, these looks that are just them and just
Yeah,
for
like the
them.
embroidery and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love the idea of like a suit, like just get a white suit, but then zhuzh it up. Add a veil, add like some floral embroidery on the lapels, add some like details. And that's a nice budget-friendly way of creating a custom look without getting a full custom
Mm.
design for you.
Yeah, so much of the information, even in like a lot of the queer wedding magazines and sites that we've been to, it's like there's still a lot of dress stuff, right? And there's not a lot of information about men's wear. And even
Mm-hmm.
in, I mean, like any podcast, and you hear like them talk for an hour about the dress, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, but what does the guy do? You know?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
even when I was started to look at custom suits, there were all these terms and things that I was like, how come I don't know anything about this? Like I've never thought of like building a suit before and what that means and what size the lapel should be or the structure of the jacket. Like that's not stuff that I know about. So it's been sort of overwhelming only because we don't get a lot of that as men.
My boyfriend was an officiant for our friend's wedding last year, and that was my first time actually getting to like go through the whole tux experience because he went to Brooks Brothers and he ended up buying 2 suits, and just watching that whole process, and the older gentleman in the back that's been doing it for like 60 years, you know what I mean? Like really making sure everything was snatched and like perfect. And there were so many options that I just know the basics and stuff like that, right? But I was like, oh my gosh, like this was awesome. Like I am surprised more men don't actually get suits done like this. I mean, I know it's not cheap, but once you get one good one, like you can wear it for a while, you know? You mentioned gray and dusty blue at the party. Like you guys, if you didn't even want to wear white, you can just like rock a nice navy crisp suit with like the brooch trend going on, or, there's, like Brittny said, there's so much you can do. There's capes, there's veils, there's embroidery.
Yeah.
There's
And look at red carpet. Don't necessarily look at wedding. Look at red carpet for inspiration, because I feel like celebrities make more bold choices. And especially in suits right now, there's so many incredible like celebrities going like really awesome looks on their suit wear.
Like the Oscars just happened.
Pull inspiration from the red carpet and just kind of like you'll start pinning stuff, and you'll start to see patterns of like what is jumping out at you. And it may mean going a full custom look. It may mean, zhuzhing up kind of a off the rack look.
Yeah, I love that idea of taking just a suit that fits really well and then having that customized and adding layers to that, as opposed to building
a whole
thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a cool idea.
The possibilities are endless.
Endless.
So you brought up wedding traditions in your questions to us, and where are you kind of falling in the line of like things that are tradition that you do like, that you and Justin have talked about, and what you're kind of having doubts about or questions about?
Yeah, so that's a lot of that is ceremony. And I grew up Black and Jewish, so you have the jumping the broom and you have the breaking the glass, and he grew up very Catholic, and so even doing the wedding outside of a church is strange for him.
And you said he's
his
Irish
family.
Catholic, right?
He's Irish and Italian, both.
Oh,
okay.
Double whammy.
Yeah. Double down.
All the Catholicism.
We've got all the traditions going on here.
We want to honor heritage and culture, but we just can't do all of it, obviously, because there would be like a 2-hour ceremony. So yeah, we're sort of trying to figure that out as well, as what feels right. And everything that I want to do involves music and a song, and he's like, we can't be a musical. We just can't do this
I'd love to go to a
production.
musical
I know. So yeah, we're just trying to find the balance there with the ceremony as well.
Mm-hmm. I think this is just like you have to just really carve out time to talk about just this and like what your priorities are, what are most important to you. I mean, you could do all of them if you wanted to. It's your wedding. I mean, breaking the glass like that's not long. Jumping, you can tighten up the traditions where it's just like kind of the more act, the actual act of these things. Maybe
we could jump the broom onto a glass.
Onto the glass.
Yes. And do it with the hand fasting for the Irish side.
That's right. We tie our hands, jump a broom onto a glass.
Yes.
That's done.
See?
Yeah, I think too, because we are so overwhelmed with all the logistical stuff with reception and venue, florals, catering, that like, to your point, we have to sit down and be like, but what does the ceremony look like and feel like, and then how does that inform the rest of the day too?
And just don't do traditions for the sake of traditions. Do traditions that mean something to you.
Yeah, no, I love that.
I think that's a lot of people feel like they have to do it all because it's a wedding. This is what you do. And I think it's okay to not do some traditions if they don't have a special meaning to you.
1000%. You haven't had any family pushback on certain traditions yet, have you? Like, hey, you're definitely doing this, right?
Some of his relatives are pretty mad that it's not in a church. Like we start there. So like they're mad about everything from then on. But no, we haven't really, because they don't know yet. Because we don't know yet. So they don't know what we are or are not doing.
I would just not have, like, it is what it is. Like, your decision is your decision. And so you don't have to get approval from outside noise. And maybe just, like, don't talk about it before the wedding. So you don't hear that feedback, because you don't need that feedback. It shouldn't affect your decision. It's about you and your husband.
I love
period.
that.
I'm a huge proponent for that. I say that all the time, and I will say that ad nauseum. Don't tell anybody anything. And if someone like tries to inquire, just be like, "Oh, we're still thinking about things." Or if they try to give you unsolicited advice, be like, "I'm going to think about that." The second you tell them what the cake's going to be, what the florals or your color choices, is the second they have an opinion, and they're not going to shut up. And then when they show up to the wedding too, it's going to be like, "Oh, that's what it looks like." Just don't let them be surprised.
Yeah,
that's great advice.
people get very opinionated when it's not their wedding.
And they like to kind of give unsolicited advice based on what their wedding was and what their experience was. And it's just they can't help themselves. I don't know why people do that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's well intended for most people. But
Right. It comes from like a place of like trying to help, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
Jesse, what other questions do you have?
So the other sort of biggest question for us is hair and makeup, because we were like, oh yeah, I'll like take a shower and then put my tux on, like. And so for the women, I have 4 in my party and he has 3. I don't even know like where to start. Like, as much theater as I've done, I've never sat down with a makeup artist and talked through looks or styles, or the same thing with hair. And so I get like crew cuts, you know what I mean? I get like fades. That's all I know.
Mhm.
And so the first question is like, how do we even start going about styling that? And also, do we provide that? And do we provide that in like our getting ready space, which feels strange? Or do we like try to find a salon where we can like ship the women off to and like so they arrive ready? We're trying to figure out that whole thing as well.
There's a few questions. I'm going to tackle the logistics of it all. You have to think about that as far as, do they get ready on site or do they get ready elsewhere? It depends on the venue. Are you and Justin getting ready together? Are you getting ready separately? Do they have additional getting ready rooms for the wedding party? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
The answer is no.
Okay.
Is it a hotel? If it's a hotel, they could get ready in one of the hotel rooms. Is there a hotel next door or nearby? I would advise not to go too far of the getting ready of it all, where traffic might hinder their arrival time, especially if you're doing photos before the ceremony. So just kind of think about the logistics of the day and what makes sense for you. If you want hair or makeup, absolutely. I would recommend doing a trial and like talking out like looks, maybe start like a Pinterest board of looks that you're loving so that you can relay like, I want a little bit of eyeliner, but not too much. I want, kind of like some cheekbone structure here, whatever it may be, just to give the artist some direction and make sure that they look in their gallery, just like any other wedding vendor, look in their gallery and see if they've done men before, or more natural makeup if that's what you want. Make sure they don't go over the top, because sometimes, makeup artists like to really go heavy on the glam, especially with weddings. That's kind of like baseline for weddings, is like very glam. And so it's hard for some artists to pull back on that. So just make sure that, whoever you work with kind of has an understanding of what you want and they're able to execute that, and just make sure to get a trial or two before the day.
Yeah. One of the tricks too is that we have a very diverse wedding party, right? We have Black and Indian and Puerto Rican and white and Jewish. And so there's so many types of hair. There's so many types of faces. And, I think just because of like Black women hair trauma, I think some of the Black women may be nervous about like showing up and having someone do their hair for the first time.
Totally.
And so we're just trying to navigate all the feelings that will come our way. And we want to provide and we want to like guide without being like, good luck, do it yourself,
right.
But also respectful of people that may want to do stuff theirself. And to your earlier questions, the ceremony is going to be at this beautiful pilgrim monument that overlooks the town, and the reception will be in town hall, this incredible auditorium they have there. So there's not really getting ready rooms. So we did get a duplex hotel room at the beautiful inn nearby that I think we'll be getting ready in, but it's not going to support hair and makeup for 7 women and all the. So we're just trying to navigate all.
Are you
of
and
those.
Justin getting ready together?
TBD. I think
Okay.
some of it will. I'd like to have a little bit of time with our wedding parties separately, just to like hang out and cheers and toast and do all that kind of stuff. I think we'll probably get dressed separately, but we'll be like getting ready together.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how important is it that the women get their hair professionally done, or you make it an offer, like you can or can't? Because that can kind of change too, like who you're looking for to like either come to you to do it because there's traveling stylists, or having to find a place like Brittny mentioned, because you have to really watch those logistics. Like she said, traffic is a thing.
There's also varying degrees of style, um, I say proficiency within the wedding party. And so there are some people that we would like very much like to have done, and some people that we would probably trust to do it themselves. But I think more importantly, to get a unifying look, right? Because you don't want people
Yeah.
showing up like they're going to a bunch of different types of events. Yeah, so that's a lot.
Yeah.
And also something that we
No.
know like nothing about. So it's very hard to sort of guide or make suggestions because it's just not in our wheelhouse at all.
I think some direction for sure, whether you're working with, a makeup artist or not, like giving the girls direction on like the beauty looks that you are wanting to make sure that everyone kind of stays cohesive on whether they're doing it themselves or when they are working with the artist, is going to be really important so that you have that aesthetic that you want throughout the whole party. And, those who I will say if you allow one to do it themselves, you might get pushback on, well, I want to do mine myself. I don't, so just tread lightly.
Is this something that Joe could help him with? Like as a planner, is this something Joe could help navigate with doing the logistics and finding like a professional or professionals in the area that might help with this?
Absolutely. This is definitely he should have, suggestions of art. He has a Rolodex of people that, have worked on multiple hair types and skin tones and but I will say like it's absolutely valid to be like nervous about letting someone else do your hair. But at the same time, if you offer to one, I would say you might. I don't know. I feel like you would get pushed back.
I do too.
I don't know your friends.
Yeah.
But we know women.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point.
You want to get someone who has a good range, who can work with different hair types and skin tones. It might be, it's also like 7 people. That's a lot. You might be bringing 2 artists in anyways, just to like get everybody done in a decent amount of time, because that's going to be hours and hours of hair and makeup if you have one person doing everybody. So
even 2 for 7 people, depending on how their hair is and how much makeup they need to put on.
Yeah, that's smart.
Gotta call up Joe. This is
yeah. This
yeah.
Is, I know.
Put Joe to work on this one.
I just feel bad, meeting with him because we have so much to talk about to be like, and also we have a lot of feelings. You know what I mean? Like I feel bad.
This is a logistics question, and also they're like planners have a degree in therapy.
Yeah. Joe will be the one on set. On set. See? It's always a theater thing. He'll be the one on set to help if there's any girl problems.
But it's definitely a logistics question, and you definitely shouldn't feel bad about asking him like, hey, like help walk us through what the getting ready timeline should look like. We have 7 women who may or may not need hair and makeup. Like, who are the artists you recommend? And he should have like some suggestions.
Are you going to do a first look? Are you going to have the photographer set you up for a first look? Because that usually follows the getting ready process before photos and...
I think so. I think that's the plan right now it's to like get ready sort of together-ish, go with our parties, get dressed, and then do a first look. But that's important too, that the logistics of it, I think, will also inform how the whole thing is set up. And maybe the feelings will have to get dealt with separately.
All right. Well, I hate to wrap this up because I literally could talk to you guys all day long. Jesse, I hope we were able to help you today and answer your questions and ease you and Justin on this process.
So helpful.
Oh, good. Yay.
September, what is the wedding? I know it's September.
September 26th.
All right.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to be thinking of you. I'm going to be like, Jesse and Justin are getting married right now. I'm so excited for them.
Yeah. And so the listeners can reach out to you as well. How can we find each of you?
Yeah, you can find me at loveincmag.com or at loveincmag across all social platforms.
I'm on Instagram at Touring B-Way Boy, like Broadway Boy, Touring B-Way Boy. And then the group is at the Broadway Boys.
Exciting. Well, so great talking to you guys. Have a great day.
All right. Thanks, Leah.
Thank you so much.